Charlie Chaplin once wisely said, "To truly laugh, you must be able to take your pain and play with it."
Charlie Chaplin was truly an artistic and humanitarian hero of mine. He grew up in extreme poverty. His father was absent. His mother went into an asylum when he was 14 years old. But that kind of pain turns some people, as we've seen lately, into monsters, and others into fountains of creativity. Chaplin alchemized his pain, turned it into art. Exquisite, timeless, healing art. Very few people know that the tramp character's funny walk was because he had worn through the soles of his shoes. He was in pain and trying to avoid the blisters. Trying to stay off his feet. Without empathy like that, this character would never have existed. Without empathy, we won't either.
We can change our neuroassociation to the ruminating pain and suffering through the use of humor and laughter. Whenever you change an emotional reference to an event, the experience itself will change. We neuroassociate with pleasure and laughter what was once associated with pain and hurt. There will be times when your problems and concerns would be so overwhelming that it might feel silly and disrespectful to laugh. But any time you're feeling that you can't find the laughter, that's exactly when you need to laugh. Just like mourning and grieving are healthy processes for finding order and healing, laughing helps you in alleviating pain and suffering. There is a great connection between humor and resilience. Taking ourselves less seriously makes us more resilient. A cheerful attitude toward life in general makes us more resilient towards negative events, which ultimately helps us face adversities in life with a cheerful smile.
There are several studies done on the importance of humor in boosting resilience and especially in dealing with human trauma. Case studies, moderator research, and cognitive appraisal work on humor all converge onto the notion that increased humor can help an individual cope more successfully with traumatic situations. Humor can ease stressful situations, and humor can make you more resilient.
So let's also take a look at resilience, because humor can diminish stress and relieve anxiety, help people express anger in a socially acceptable way, and it can increase your bandwidth. And the more you practice humor, the more bandwidth that you build. And this is a good thing. You want to have this bandwidth and have that resilience for those times where you're going to need it. It's like trying to go to the bank and make a big withdrawal when you haven't been making any deposits. I'm going to tell you, the bank frowns on that. Not that I would know, just saying for a friend. So you want to be making those deposits, and practicing experiencing humor on a daily basis has been shown to provide those wonderful benefits in terms of resilience.
Humor enhances mental health and self-mockery, a form of poking fun at oneself or having a self-depreciating humor that improves our overall psychological well-being. People who have self-depreciating humor are less prone to the adverse effects of criticism. They are less sensitive to people who tend to be sarcastic towards them. They can handle rejections very well. They can handle failures very well. They can accept reality with a sense of humor. And ultimately, self-depreciating humor helps us ignore provocations and reduces our hypersensitivity to such stressful people and events. So if you have a self-depreciating humor, you tend to be more composed, you tend to be more calm amidst all kinds of chaos out there.
Poking fun at oneself acknowledges our human imperfections, and we are less likely to be critical and judgmental on others' flaws and vulnerabilities. In forgiving all of your awkward mishaps, you make room so that others can too. Ultimately, self-mockery should be a way of acknowledging your own flaws and limitations through the softer lens of self-compassion. Such humor should not be mistaken as a sign of low self-esteem. Instead, it's a sign of self-confidence. Some studies find that increased humor can contribute to the enhancement of positive life experiences and lead to greater positive effect and psychological well-being.
I'm down in San Diego volunteering for the Challenge Athletes Foundation, their annual Try Challenge. It's 5:30 in the morning, dark, and it's a kind of a chaotic time because people are just trying to figure out where to go. There are a bunch of athletes coming and going, and volunteers are checking in, and in the dark, I hear this little playful voice of a woman come up from the side, and she says, "Excuse me, do you have some scissors so I can cut off my leg?" Of course, I stop everything, give her a look, try to figure out what's going on, and this woman starts laughing so hard, and then she lifts up a wetsuit, and with that, then she points to her leg, and I realize she needs the wetsuit leg cut off so the remaining stump from her leg can fit into the wetsuit. She's basically missing a leg. She has the best attitude. She just loves to laugh at things like this. She finds humor in all these little situations. So with that, we cut off her leg, and I kept the remaining portion of the wetsuit that was cut off, her leg that was cut off, as a reminder on how to build resilience, on how to look at life with humor, and if things are not going my way, all I have to do is look at this and say to myself, you know what, life is not all that bad. Just try to find a way to deal with whatever the situation is with a smile, and be kind to everybody, and move on.
Many of us are the happiest when we laugh at our past misfortunes. If you look back in your life, in retrospect, you can recollect the many unfortunate events, but now you can laugh at it. Because now you know that those experiences have molded you into becoming somebody better, somebody wiser. You can laugh at your past stupid mistakes and blunders because you have developed better perspectives to evaluate them now than ever before. So why wait for years to laugh at your misery and misfortune? Learn to laugh at them right now.
The more seriously you take yourself, the more difficult life will get for you. You will tend to take everything personally that constantly feeds your ego. People with self-depreciating humor have their ego under check and are humble, down to earth, and grounded. Often, ego gets in your path to resilience. Protecting your ego will not only make you less likely to try again after a failure, it will also bring unnecessary frustration and irritation in life. Self-depreciating humor should not be mistaken as self-defeating humor, which means manipulative humor. Self-depreciating humor is laughing with yourself, and manipulative or self-defeating humor is laughing at yourself. Those who engage often in manipulative humor tend to experience greater levels of anxiety and depression.
Now, there are obviously kinds of humours that can actually be bad for you. If you're the butt of all jokes, it can actually be maladaptive. And that's the kind of technical word to say it gets you down. If everyone's always pointing at you and actually pointing the focus at you, and you are literally the focus of all the bad jokes, it actually can wear you down. But the opposite can also be true. It can steal you to the actual needs of what that situation is. Laughter enables you to do and accomplish truly some extraordinary things. In often groups, humor, being the butt of the joke, can actually be a rite of passage. That you don't actually treat yourself and think of yourself too seriously. But that's okay, that's fine. But the key here is not to shield yourself from a tough time or a complicated or difficult reality. It's about letting go and releasing that tension in the moment.
What humor does to our mind is that it promotes objectivity. With humor, you tend to see yourself as an observer, which is essential in advancing your resilience. It gives a different perspective to life. That's why comedians can narrate simple human facts to us in the most humorous way. A humorous perspective helps us see obstacles, tragedies, mistakes, and embarrassing moments differently.
Humor, laughter, whatever it may be, gives us a new, fresh perspective, gives us an opportunity to step out of the situation and look at it anew. It's amazing how humor unlocks creativity. You'll actually see it in people's body language. They're hunched over, then they release this flexibility, this creativity. And by the way, there are studies about how people who are suffering from great illnesses or traumas or tragedies are able to brush off harsh times. by using humor. It doesn't mean you ignore the situation. Reality is important to understand. But it's actually how you're able to brush it off and move on. Move to the next step forward, without being locked into that point right there.
Psychologists call it adaptive humor, which is a self-enhancing ability to see the humor in negative events. Humor should be your natural defense mechanism because even a little levity holds the capacity to alter your perspective to see the positives.
A humor gives a group a sense of cognitive flexibility, the ability to rethink a situation, not just as an individual, as a group. It enables you to accept the challenge, accept the hardship. It doesn't mean you ignore the hardships, but accept it. Accept the situation, reappraise it, and accept it, move on, reappraise it, and challenge yourself further.
When we take ourselves less seriously, life itself can be a non-threatening gift, which makes episodes in life less intimidating. When we take ourselves less seriously, we're able to see the humor in situations, find the silver lining when things don't go the way we want them to, and navigate through the ups and downs of life a bit easier. Our terrain becomes easier. Humor gives us a heightened sense of awareness.
Humor largely helps us to embrace who we are and gives us the peace to live with it. We learn to accept our flaws. We learn to accept our past mistakes. We can accept our blunders and laugh at it, learn from it, and move on. And it's not just about making peace with what happened. You can accept what is happening as well. You can embrace the present moment of fears and uncertainty, because the moment you start laughing at the face of fear, even your greatest fear, you instantly begin to shift into a higher state of awareness, into a heightened state of awareness that leads to acceptance.
Adding humor to situations can improve our state of consciousness. It can open our eyes, help us wake up from the trance of self-defeating thoughts and feelings of helplessness. Humor enables us to see through fear. We become more aware of our powers to handle challenges objectively. It's all possible because humor can elevate ease and comfort within ourselves, bringing a shift in our tense state of mind to a more relaxed and serene state.
Well, one way to think about it is humor shrinks our fears. In that moment of tension, in that moment of stress, our fears bubble up to the surface. When we think about what our fears are, our most inner fears, our humble fears, our huge fears, most of our fears are a template of the past imposing themselves on the present. How we acted then means how we're going to act now. And as a result, we act in strange ways. We act according to the template rather than recalibrating to the current situation. Humor, laughter, sets us free. It breaks that loop around fear and says we can do this more. We can accomplish more. We can reframe this situation, reframe this experience into something truly incredible. Something where we can reach that next run higher so that we can go and make things greater still.
If we allow fear in any situation to determine the choices we make, terror always wins, no matter what form it takes, whether it's an internal fear or an uncontrollable external outside force. Therefore, to thrive in challenging times, we need a strong foundation to stand on. And humor, my friend, is that strong foundation. We can conquer fear through humor. We can embrace uncertainties that are fearful through humor. Humor helps us adapt to the new normal of life, however uncomfortable our situations may be. Remember the movie Life is Beautiful, where the protagonist tells his kid that the Nazi concentration camp is a game that they must play to win a tank? By using humor, Roberto Benigni's character is able to turn suffering into something beautiful. This is a reminder that we should be able to laugh at our adversities, and this would in turn gives us the inner strength to conquer our challenges.
Humor doesn't ignore the difficulties. It makes them more tolerable. The moment you start laughing in the face of fear, you instantly shift into a higher state of awareness or consciousness, which allows you to tap into your inner strength. You are not helpless. You can access the power within you to silence your inner critic, your inner skeptic. You can awaken the solution provider within you. You don't need to make choices based on your insecurities and fears. Instead, you can make courageous and gutsy decisions. Remember, whenever you laugh in the face of any problem or fear, you create a shift in your awareness from the problem to solution. You can see challenges and solutions differently. That's why, even in the most challenging of times, people can be resilient and are able to use humor to find peace and clarity. Make failure your friend. In Man's Search for Meaning, psychiatrist Viktor Frankl summarized it best when he wrote about surviving Nazi concentration camps. Humor was another of the soul's weapons in the fight for self-preservation. It is well known that humor, more than anything else in the human makeup, can afford an aloofness and an ability to rise above any situation, even if only for a few seconds.
Humor makes failing less stressful, less terrifying, and less embarrassing. It promotes a symbiotic relationship with the failure you encounter, but humor is not just a softener for making excuses or avoiding responsibility. It's a way of persevering despite setbacks with hope and optimism. Humor is a great coping mechanism. It allows us to see the situations differently and provide relief. Humor takes away these momentary frustrations of life and gives us the perspective to solve challenging issues. It weakens the impact of negative emotions and makes us see the blessings of life. Humor can help us stay resilient and generate positive feelings when you need them the most.
Laughter is the best medicine. It's not just humor. Even the habit of laughter can strengthen your resilience. Evidence shows that highly resilient people manage to experience positive emotions even in the middle of stressful and challenging situations. Studies link these positive emotions with their ability to rebound from negative emotional experiences.
There was a study done by a very dear friend of mine, Dr. William Fry, and he found in a study that people who laughed a belly laugh for 2 minutes, it was the aerobic equivalent of 10 minutes on a rowing machine. I know! Can you believe it? How many of you have those expensive sweater hangers like I do, also known as a Nordic track or a treadmill or a stationary bicycle or elliptical machine? 2 minutes of belly laughter. Now, if you've not laughed for 2 minutes in a very long time, start slowly. Check with your doctor.
You must learn how to make a conscious effort to find humor in all the challenging situations that you encounter. Learning how to laugh with your problems is the first step toward resiliency. Some people don't allow themselves to enjoy life when times are tough because they feel guilty or they don't have the right to do so in such a situation. For example, a person who might be recently diagnosed with cancer would often say, "How can I find laughter in my life when I was just diagnosed with a disease like cancer?" Well, if we carefully see, that is exactly what you're supposed to do. People say, "How can you expect me to laugh and enjoy my life when the economy is falling apart and I constantly live in fear of losing my job any time?" Well, my friend, that's when you're supposed to.
It's extremely essential that we understand that there's a difference between laughing at something that is serious and laughing off the fear it represents. I believe that this is the number one reason why we are blessed with the gift of humor in the first place. To laugh off the fear, to laugh in the face of fear. Because when you do, your perception changes, negativity shifts, and fear keeps at bay. When times are rough or even severe, we must at some point find that courage within ourselves to laugh off the fear.
Have a sense of humor. Nothing changes our perspective like a hearty laugh. Laughter opens our hearts and minds, whereas fear closes them. Humor keeps us bendable instead of brittle in the face of unrelenting change. As a result, people who are adaptable take their humor seriously and themselves lightly. When children are playing, they will often say, "Make it funner, make it funner." Well, if funner was a word, it'd be an adverb, defined as add a little more fun. What a great philosophy for all who desire to be more adaptable.
While you laugh with your troubles and tribulations as an observer, don't forget to take good care of yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. Treat yourself with some compassion whenever you make a mistake. Don't judge yourself too soon because you failed at something. Be kind and self-nurturing to yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, then who will?